multitude answered and said, Master, I have brought unto thee my son, which hath a dumb spirit. And wheresoever he taketh him, he teareth him, and he foameth, and gnasheth with his teeth, and pineth away. And I spake to thy disciples that they should cast him out, and they could not. He answereth him, and saith, O faithless generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him to me. By the way, when he said, how long shall I suffer you, that doesn't mean how long am I going to put up with you. It means, like, how long will I allow you, right? How much time do I have to give you is how we would probably say it, okay? And they brought him unto him, and when he saw him, straightway the spirit tear him, and he fell on the ground and wallowed foaming. And he asked his father, how long since ago this came unto him? And he said, of a child. And oft times it casteth him into the fire and into the water to destroy him. But if thou canst do anything, have compassion on us. What? This man said, if you can do anything, he's talking to Jesus. If you can do anything, have compassion on us. If you can do anything, he's speaking to the one who put the moon and the sun in the heavens and decked the heavens with the stars. And he's saying, if you can do anything. He's talking to the one who smoothed out a chaotic earth and scooped out a place with his hand and put the water in it, tied it down with a rope of sand and called it oceans. And he's saying, if you can do anything. He's the one that put a garment of green over the valleys and the mountains and the hills and buttoned it up with lilies and garlands and wove it with laughing daffodils. And he's saying to this one, the one of whom it was said in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. And the same was in the beginning with God, and all things were made by him. And without him was not anything made. He's saying to him, if you can, will you have compassion on us? Jesus said, the problem is not whether or not I can. He didn't say it that way, but that's what it boils down to. If thou canst do anything, have compassion on us and help us. Jesus said unto him, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. He said, if you can believe. The question is not whether or not God can come through for you. I've got news for you. The question is not even whether or not you can come through for you. The question is, can you believe or not? Because I believe that expectation is the human being's greatest superpower. And if you do not learn how to intentionally use it for your good and the good of others around you, there are some enemies that will use your superpower against you. It's not a question of whether or not you believe. Everybody believes. It's not a question of whether or not you expect. Everybody expects. It's a question of what you believe and what you expect. And a lot of people believe and expect things they'd rather not believe and expect, but they've been doing it so long, they think they have no choice. Can I get a witness up in here?
If you're not a profitable trader after working...
He said, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. And straightway the father of the child cried out and said with tears, Lord, I believe. Help thou mine unbelief. Wow. I believe, here's what he said, I believe and I doubt. I believe you can and I believe you can't. I believe it's going to get better, but I believe it's going to stay the same. And see, it's interesting if we take this, if we go look at a passage that tells us about this kind of thinking in James chapter 1, where it says, my brethren, well, I won't start there. I'll start. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, who giveth to all men liberally and upbraideth not. And by the way, when that passage, when it says, if any of you lack wisdom, it's not talking about general wisdom in the context. It's talking about the wisdom to count it all joy when you go through diverse temptations or when you go through different kinds of trials. So the scripture says, when you go through different kinds of trials, count it all joy, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. But let patience have her perfect work. What does that mean? That means stop asking God to deliver you from the trial he delivered you to before it gets done doing in you what it was sent to do. That's why it says, but let patience have her perfect work. let the difficult situation that you are in do the work on you that it was sent to do on you until it is done. But if any of you lack wisdom on how to do that, let him ask of God, who giveth to all men liberally and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. But what does it say after that? It says, but let him ask how? In faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind, and is tossed. A double-minded man, I believe, Lord help thou mine unbelief, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord. So what if your real problem was not an inability to execute? What if your real problem is an inability to expect? What if your real problem were not an inability to behave, but your real problem were an inability to believe? Question number one, would you be willing to do what it takes to change that? Because do you understand that our words and our actions display our beliefs? People say, I believe this and I believe that. You don't have to tell anybody what you believe. All you got to do is keep on living. And people who are looking at you can see what you believe by the things that you do and the things that you say. And so, I'm going to keep reading here so I can get to it, so y'all can know what happened in the story. Together, he rebuked the foul spirit, saying unto him, thou dumb and deaf spirit, I charge thee, come out of him and enter into him no more. And the spirit cried. I love the specificity with which Christ spoke. He didn't just say come out. He didn't say leave today and you can come back tomorrow. He said leave and don't you ever come back. Anyway. And the spirit cried and rent him sore and came out of him, and he was as one dead, insomuch that many said, he is dead. And Jesus took him by the hand and lifted him up, and he arose. And when he was coming to the house, his disciples asked him privately, why could we not cast him out? And he said unto them, this kind cometh forth by nothing, but by prayer and fasting. So let me give you the interpretation before I give you the application. Why did Jesus say this kind